Hello everyone, this is Liz from Knowledge Return. Welcome. Remember, this is a space where we talk about spirituality and energy as a part of our normal everyday experience. And we talk about spiritual journeys, awakenings, and life in general as it relates. One thing I have to say as a part of my spiritual journey is the universe has a way, when you are really dedicated to your journey and understanding, has a way in shaking up your world to help you. One of the biggest breakthroughs I had in my journey, in which I have no doubt the universe had their finger all over this, and that was choosing me, choosing who I am, declaring who I am, being okay with who I am. And once I did that, I had the biggest breakthrough, roller coaster ride of my life. Because I then realized that there are energies and forces whose whole role is to not have you come to that conclusion, to not have you discover who you are, to distract you. And we talk about that all the time when it comes to waking up and being woke, that this whole experience, a lot of it is the distraction from getting from having you discover who you are. But when you get to that point of realizing who you are, your whole world might flip upside down, and in a good way and in an unexpected way. And this is not to scare anyone. This is like, if you were doing tarot, it would be like a tower moment, in the sense that everything I thought I knew about this world, everything I thought I knew about this experience, gets turned upside down. It's clarity. It's so much clarity. You then realize what's true and what's important. And when you're going through a spiritual journey, the point of it, a lot of messages I have on this channel is about waking up and saving yourself, and it's you who saves yourself. There's no one's going to save you. It's you who's saving yourself. So one thing is to speak it and to know it and to be guided in that way. And the other thing is to actually experience it. Experiencing the moment when you realize, or you thought you knew who you were, and then you declare it to the world. You declare it to your loved ones. It's almost like announcing to everyone, even though it's been a part of your entire life, hey, I'm intuitive. I'm an intuitive person. I've always been an intuitive person. I feel energies. I get insight from my higher self. Declaring, knowing these things internally and then declaring it is a whole different thing. And then if someone comes in your world to say, that is not true, you do not do that, you cannot do that, and also to say that is not your identity, there is no way, you are fake, you are not real, that is not real. And you know your entire life, before anyone could speak those words to you, you already knew that was true. And then someone comes in and says, that's not true about you. That is not who you are. And the world, the universe tests us. You already know this fact about yourself to be true. And the universe says, okay, let me give you a test. I'm going to send somebody in to your world to tell you that is not who you are. What are you going to do? Are you going to say, oh, you're right, that's not me, and you shrink back and you shrink down? You know, maybe it's not, it's just what I'm thinking. I don't know. Or are you going to stand up and stand up for yourself and declare, yes, this is who I am, and this is who I've always been? I'm using myself as an example. But this is what the universe is teaching us. How to stand up for ourselves. And in standing up for ourselves, we reclaim our energy. We reclaim our power. Whatever that means for you. The universe is putting situations upon situations in front of us to say, how many situations do I have to put in front of you before you stand up for yourself? How many situations do I have to put in front of you before you reclaim your power? How many situations do I have to put in front of you so that you love yourself, you choose yourself? How many situations? Some of us, we just don't get it. But in the end, that's what the universe is doing. Those are our lessons. Those are the trials. Those are the pop quizzes that we're getting. How many lessons do you need before you choose yourself? And I've said this before. This is not about being selfish. This is about loving yourself. Respecting yourself. And then when you love yourself, you begin to make better choices about your situation and your environment and the people around you. You no longer take being subjugated and put down and made little and small. You no longer tolerate that. So the universe is always telling us, and is keep putting situations and people in front of us. And it's saying, how many times do you need this lesson before you set up boundaries, before you protect yourself, before you love yourself? How many times? And if you don't think that that's love, that's universal love, you may need to look at it from a different perspective. The lessons seem hard, but they don't have to be. The universe is telling us over and over and over. Wake up. Love yourself. Choose yourself. Protect yourself. And when you start really embodying that, that's when you start looking at not only yourself, but the people around you. That's when you can really begin to give love. Once you truly love yourself completely, your body, your mind, your spirit, and then you begin to project that. Then you begin to share that. Then you realize that all of that attention or love that you're looking for outside yourself it's not needed. Because there's so much abundant love. Once you give it to yourself, you'll begin to just continually having it. Because at that point, you're really connecting with the universe. You're connecting with the spirit. You're connecting with your higher self. You're beginning to go into to do that inner work of love, dismantling the belief systems that you hold that keep you in a state of shame or anger or hatred or doubt or insecurity. You begin to shed those belief systems that you're holding so tightly internally. You begin to shed those societal norms, or let me quote unquote norms, that society tells you should be or act, especially if they are holding you back from being who you are, especially if it holds you back from looking within yourself and loving yourself and finding yourself and forgiving yourself. So all of those things about our life in this experience, in our lessons, over and over, the universe is saying, how many lessons do you need before you choose yourself and love yourself and find yourself? I gave my example of being intuitive and declaring that, and knowing that has always been a part of me, to the point that no outside person could come in and tell me otherwise. That was something I've always knew since a child. It's just something that took me until my 50s, for example, to actually begin to declare it to other people. It was like my little secret. I used what I knew to maneuver through life, but it was still my little secret. And the universe was like, okay, yes, you had this little secret, but people need to know. People need to know. You can't continue hiding behind who you are. Become who you are. Because if you do not become who you are, people will tell you who you are. And this is not what this life is about. This life is about becoming who you are, remembering who you are, reclaiming your energy and your power, loving yourself to the point you heal yourself. So the awakening journey is a healing journey. It's a love affair. It's everything like that. As we're going through life, it seems so much like a struggle. But it's a struggle because we are not facing our truth. We're not facing our truth. That's why it's a struggle. The universe is putting up the course and lesson in front of us, and we're refusing to pass the test. That's why it's a struggle. So hopefully we come into understanding our true nature, our authenticity of who we are, so that we can lessen the burden, so that the lesson is less of a struggle. And I will admit, when we come to terms and we face that actual lesson, But our world might get turned upside down. It might get turned upside down. But if you are choosing you, and if you are loving you, and you are healing you, you'll come to understand the necessity and the purpose of the lesson. And you will be glad for it. And one thing I will definitely say, for some of us who have been in that struggle of a lesson for a long period of time, and we actually get to unravel some of the things, it is very important that we forgive ourselves. We forgive ourselves for holding on to certain ideologies and belief systems so long that it lowered who we were. It put us in a state where we became immobile. We could not think. We could not create. We could not be who we were. We became silent. We have to forgive ourselves for all of that, so we can get through and really begin to heal. So let's take our lessons, and I hope that everyone really begins to look at their life, this experience, shift our perspective, or shift your perspective in a way that you begin to see your life. Every now and then in a day, take a perspective to step out, especially if you feel like you're struggling, and see what is the lesson I need to learn in this moment. What is this lesson trying to teach me? Am I supposed to be standing up for myself? Am I supposed to be loving myself? Am I supposed to be setting up boundaries? Am I supposed to be forgiving myself? Am I supposed to be healing myself? So we can still experience this world, but know there's also lessons as we go through it. And with that, again, I hope everyone has a great day. Until next time.